I'd like to call the November City Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Amy, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Here.
Commissioner Perry?
Here.
Commissioner Scott?
Here.
Commissioner Wall?
Here.
Mayor Metz?
Thank you. I would like to ask Officer or Sergeant Reed to come up, please, and introduce a new police officer for Pleasant Ridge.
That's exciting.
Good evening.
Hey.
The chief is out of town once again, so I'll be speaking under governmental reports. But,
Okay, good.
I am happy to be here because I wanted to introduce not only commissioners, but also the residents of Pleasant Ridge to our newest officer. It's Jeremy Waters. Have him come on up. Jeremy just completed 20 years in Detroit.
Wow.
So he's a Detroit officer for 20 years, grew up in the area. His dad was a Ferndale sergeant, very well-respected sergeant that as soon as we heard that Jeremy was available and looking for a job, one of the officers even said, well, he's Waters' son, right? That's all that matters. So that's where we're at. But we are super excited to have Jeremy join our force and wanted to introduce him to you tonight.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Welcome to the
Opportunity to meet a couple of you guys.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Drop
We've
by
seen
Ann's
you on
house
the
last-
streets.
Absolutely. Seen you on the streets at 3:30 in the morning. Knew it was coming. So walking the streets. It's okay.
Hey, all sounds bad.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
No, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Look forward to hopefully not running into all you. I've seen a few familiar faces here. As Rob said, 20 years down in Detroit. And again, grew up in the area, grew up in Ferndale. Live in Rochester Hills, have 3 young boys. And like I said, you guys ever need anything, I'm out there. I'm out there.
Great.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah, I would just say, on behalf. No, the people in this room, right, and the people up here and the people in this community, I know we all value our police officers like family.
Right.
It's really part of this community. So, love us or leave us, you're stuck with us. No.
Let's hope it's the more love than that.
It'll be
Yeah, no, really honored to have you here and keeping us safe.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Now it's time for public discussion. Does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss that's not on the agenda tonight? All right, cool, thank you. And now governmental reports. So Sergeant Reed. Promised.
It's been a while.
I know. It's like I haven't seen you guys in forever. Good evening once again. Since the chief is out of town, he sent me in his place. Just wanted to give our normal monthly update of what's been going on. Luckily, it's been quiet once again. I don't know if you saw in the newspaper, but one thing we did want to point out is Officer Champagne late last month was just running some radar and pulled over a car. And when he pulled over the car, he got some ID and talked to the occupants, and the occupants were acting a little bit weird. And turns out that he wound up arresting the driver, who was wanted on a fresh murder warrant out of Savannah, Georgia. So Officer Hadfield and Champagne took that gentleman into custody, and we had 2 Savannah detectives come on up here a day and a half later. And so the chief and I got them escorted around the Metro Detroit area and helped them get some search warrants and get things taken care of.
Wow.
Detectives took back off to Savannah, and he was extradited, I want to say, a little over a week ago. So
Awesome.
he is out of Oakland County Jail custody, out of the sheriff's custody, and he is back in Savannah to face those charges. So just
That's
something
great
that
work.
every once in a while, get some stuff coming through that you don't normally expect, but it does happen. So just wanted to say great job by Officer Champagne and Hadfield. I wanted to give them a little bit of a attaboy. Other than that, it's just the normal stuff. Identity theft. If you haven't locked down your identity, please do so. There's a bunch of services to do that. Call your bank will help you with it. We're getting identity thefts regularly. I mean, it's a weekly occurrence around here. So other than that, I can stand for any questions that the commission may have.
Bless you.
Any package alerts or anything with the holidays coming?
So far, so good, but we aren't into the heavy holiday season, but absolutely.
Next week.
Yeah, check out your neighbors' houses, make sure that, whoever's at the houses should be there. If you do see some packages that are just blatantly apparent, maybe if you know your neighbor, stick them behind the bush, get them, a little out of the way so the package thieves don't see them. Because I'm sure we will be dealing with some of those. If we won't, I know the surrounding communities will be, because it's a yearly occurrence. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant Reed. All right, next we have the City Commission liaison reports. So I'm first on the list. So the Planning Commission and DDA met on Monday, October 22nd. The Planning Commission discussed a request by Sunny Singh, owner of the Sunoco gas station, to extend his hours for selling packaged beer and wine from 8 a.m. till midnight. Right now, his selling hours are 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I think, all the reports we've gotten from the city and everything have been that things are clear. It hasn't created any extra trouble or anything like that. So the Planning Commission is going to hold a public hearing on December 10th to discuss that further. So if anyone has any questions or anything, we can, the Planning Commission will be having a good public hearing then, and then the City Commission will review the outcome of that public hearing. The Chariot program is still going really well, and the Hessel Park stop is our busiest stop. It is having, for pickups and drop-offs, and I think I know some of the people who use it quite a bit and like it really well. But it is a great route, and I'll try and send out reminders and everything too. But from Thursday through Sunday, you can get the Chariot from 4 p.m. till midnight. And during peak hours from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., it comes every 15 minutes. And beyond that, it's every half hour. And you can download the app. It's like the Chariot app. You can see more details on the city website too. And then the next regular City Commission meeting will be held on Monday, January 21st. Oh, sorry. The next Planning Commission DDA meeting will be held on Monday, January 21st, 2019. But before that, we will have the public hearing, which will be on December 10th. So that's all I have. Thanks. So next we have Commissioner Scott with Historical Commission.
Thank you. We've not had our meeting yet for November. It's tentatively going to be rescheduled for the end of the month. If you're a member of the Historical Commission, haven't responded back yet on the date, please reach back to City Hall so that we can choose the date. And we also have 3 open positions next year for the Historical Commission. We do have some applicants, but if it's something of interest, please come see Amy at City Hall to consider joining the Historical Commission. There are also other junior commissions that have open positions as well. It's a great way to be involved in the city, and there's a lot of interesting things going on from a historical perspective for the city right now.
100 year.
100 years coming up. They
100
had their
years
first
next
meeting
year.
this week, and we'll hear more about that in the future.
I hear they've been working very hard on the new Then and Now.
Yeah, it's a really interesting project. We already have a Pleasant Ridge Then and Now book available, but the perspective of what's in the book has changed through time. So the information that's going in just has a fresh set of eyes, and the way that the stories are being told are new. And I think there's a lot of interesting information that you'll see in the new version coming out in the coming months. A release date hasn't been set yet, but with everything going on next year, I'm sure it will fit in with the Home and Garden Tour and the 100th year anniversary. And if you have any information about Pleasant Ridge that you'd like to share, feel free to contact me or someone in the city. There might be some interesting photographs to add into the stories that go into the book. It's always interesting. And I neglected to mention that we'll be cataloging everything in the museum over the next year, so you'll have a better feel for what's contained in the museum. We've received lots of donations, but without any history behind them, so we're trying to put all of that together so that it's easy to understand what history is already saved in the city.
That's very cool.
That's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Wall. the Recreation Commission, please.
So we also have 2 positions available on the Recreation Commission. It is, as Commissioner Scott said, a great way to get involved, and it's, I think, what a fun situation as well. Talk to Amy. If you have any questions, talk to me or anybody on the commission. We'd be happy to answer questions. I am on the 100-year planning so we're in the beginning stages of a very exciting planning situation for next year. We're going to be celebrating citywide, so stay tuned for that. Things coming up: Breakfast with Santa, Saturday, December 1st, 10 a.m. You have to just register by November 28th. Tree lighting, and Santa's going to show up as well. Monday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. Memorial Park, cookies and cocoa. I believe there will be a reindeer. Very good situation. Letters to Santa starts November 19th. Deadline to submit letters Friday, December 13th. Mail your letter in the special boxes at City Hall in Fort Ridge. Be sure to include your name and address on the letter so Santa can write back. Mad Hatter and Holiday Shopping in downtown Birmingham, December 19th. $10.40, $6. Lunch and shopping costs is on your own. And then we had a very busy Halloween situation, and Mr. Peterzak is going to come up and tell us about that.
Thank you, Commissioner. So formal, like, right? I just wanted to give an update on our past Halloween events that we had this year. It's always a busy time for us at the community center, and we had two main events. Well, we had 3 events. So one of them we took. I want to say it was 32, 15, or 12, 13, and 14-year-olds to Cedar Point for Halloween weekends. So that was interesting. It was fun. The kids had a great time, and it's a good way for them to kind of go to Cedar Point during the Halloween time. We had a toddler boo bash. It's a Halloween party for the little ones. There was so many people there, and it might have seemed like it was more crowded because we weren't able to use the big room, but it was very busy. I want to say we had maybe 40 to 45 kids, and then they each had 2 parents, so it got crowded pretty fast. But it was a real fun event. And then we had the Halloween hayride the next day on the 21st. The weather was awesome. It was real nice. It was a little chilly, but hey, it wasn't snowing, it wasn't raining, so we had great attendance for that. We basically sold out all of our food, and we had the face painting, and we added a couple things like the jumper and the climbing wall.
The climbing wall was popular.
So it was just a good time. It's one of my favorite community events, and it's nice to see everybody come out.
It's beautiful.
And then our last kind of lingering Halloween thing is we started collecting candy at the community center for Operation Gratitude. It's a program that sends leftover candy to our troops overseas. So we put some stuff out on Facebook, eBlast, and in the Ridger about people bring their candy by. So let's see. In 2015, we collected 82 pounds of candy. 2016 was 99 pounds, and last year was 136 pounds. So we were hoping just to get a little bit more than what we had last year, and we ended up with 304 pounds of candy.
Holy cannoli.
Wow. It was ridiculous. I mean, we had like the big bins that you buy at Costco and Sam's.
Oh my!
There was 5 of those that were full, bustling over. So, we appreciate everybody doing that, and I'm sure the recipients of that candy appreciates it too. So, just wanted to say thank you to everybody who was able to do that, and that's about it.
You have a coat drive going on now.
Yeah,
too,
the coat drive is with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, Coats for the Cold. So we have a box here and one at the community center, and it's done at the end of November, and on November 31st, they're here, they pick them up.
Okay.
So they there's usually no couple days where it's sitting there lingering. So if you have your coats new or gently used, bring them by and you can drop them in the boxes.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else?
We did not meet. The Rec Commission did not meet this month. We're still trying to reschedule. We'll keep you posted.
Cool. Commissioner Krzyjak, Ferndale Public Schools.
Thank you. At the Ferndale School Board meeting in October, Zoe Butters, who's the Ferndale school student representative, informed the attendants about the Senior Parent Night college application. This was an event that brought senior parents with the students together with the staff at the high school to prepare the families for the upcoming college application process. She gave us an update on that. And Sydney Embry at University High School gave us an update on the off-site homecoming for University High School, which was a resounding success. The Superintendent's Excellence Award this month went to Nia Jenkins at Ferndale High School. She was singled out because of her example to the student body of leading with strength and kindness. Her mother was in attendance and her family, and it was a very nice award for Nia Jenkins from Ferndale High School to be recognized in that way. The Eagle of the Month, which traditionally goes to the outstanding staff member in the Ferndale School District, was awarded to all of the enrollment staff in the Ferndale District because there were 1,500 new applications processed at the beginning of the school year. So the superintendent wanted to extend her gratitude to the staff who processed all those applications. And there also was a special recognition for Malaria Williams and Leandra, don't have her last name, but they responded to they called a 911 call when one of their fellow students was stricken with an illness, and they were highlighted for their quick thinking and their response to that. So the superintendent wanted to give a recognition for their attention to one of their fellow students. The Lower Elementary School Principal Diana Keefe gave an update on Jump Start. This is a program that's been in service to the district for 10 years now. In the first year, there were 25 students. This year, there was 110 students. Jump Start is a program where the kindergartners start the week before, and this gives them the run of the entire school for that week before school starts. Principal Keefe just said how valuable that time is for the new kids in the school to figure out the school, figure out the basics of getting around the school, and she was really ecstatic about the program. I guess there was a satisfaction survey, and 97% of the parents were thrilled with the Jump Start program. So that's going on at Lower Elementary. There also was some good news on the marching band. Recently, they took second place at the NMCBA state finals for general effect. This is getting to be, pretty regular, and it's a point of pride for many in the community. And year after year, their hard work pays off with recognition at the state level. So a lot of good news there, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Yeah, that is exciting about the marching band. They are truly competitors. They're cool. The next we have the consideration of the following consent agenda. We have 4 regular items on the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor, I move that the consent agenda be approved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Cool. Amy?
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes. Next on our agenda, we have the 2019 through 2023 Pleasant Ridge Parks and Rec Master Plan. We have a public hearing and then consideration of the master plan. Jim, could you tell us about that?
Sure. Just real quickly, Scott has been working with Leah Goria from Living Lab to update the plan with the Rec Commission, along with some public input opportunities over this past spring and summer. And we're now at the point where we have put the plan out for comment. It's been available on the website since, I believe, September 11th. We haven't gotten any comments on it, but it's been available. At this time, we're holding the public hearing on the plan, after which the Commission can consider it for adoption. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Leah, who is going to run through real quick. Leah, we have your PowerPoint queued up.
Oh, okay, great.
So just go left and right, so back and forth. And if you are doing that, you may want to come around. Otherwise, your head will be,
Okay, so turn this way.
yeah, just come this way a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah.
Welcome, Leah.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. All right. I've transitioned into reading glasses over the past a few months, so bear with
They
me.
work out.
I know the feeling.
I know, but then I can't see
Oh,
there. And, I'm getting used to it. All right. We just wanted to take 10 minutes or so to give a brief overview of the plan contents, the process, the purpose of the plan, and what's included in the document, and kind of the next steps of how you get it into the Department of Natural Resources and move on from tonight. I will do this and transition the slides.
No, it's the air. See the little like.
Oh, this one?
Yep.
Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the purpose of the 5-year plan to start. And as Jim mentioned, this is an update from your previous plan that you completed. Really going through the planning process and developing the plan assists in documenting the community's needs and your priorities related to Parks and Recreation. Once it's adopted, it's certainly a good tool for the commission and staff to use during day-to-day work, but also during your annual budgeting process. So I think it's definitely a resource once it's adopted for the community to use to think through as you're doing your budgets every year. The document serves as a guide document, and it also is put together using the Department of Natural Resources guidelines. The state puts together guidelines in terms of the process we need to follow and general contents that need to be considered and included in the plan. So we have followed that guidance in the preparation of this document. Once it's adopted, because you've followed the Department of Natural Resource guidance, you will be eligible to apply for grants from the Department of Natural Resources. If you wouldn't develop this 5-year plan, you wouldn't be eligible to apply for the grant programs that the MDNR has available. And the plan, once it's adopted, can certainly be amended over the 5-year period. If some things would change, either financially or priorities, or an opportunity would come up that we just haven't anticipated, the plan can certainly be amended through a process that the department has set forth. I think just as important as what the plan is what the plan isn't. The plan doesn't go through and solve the things that have been brought up or issues or concerns that might be needing to be addressed, but it really helps to identify what those are, identify priorities, identify issues, document them, so it kind of sets a framework and a roadmap for the community to move forward. As I said, the department issues guidance for the contents and the process that we follow. And you can see that the main sections of the document here, we have a brief description of the community. We document the process that was taken. We note the administrative structure of the city and how Parks and Recreation is governed here. We do an inventory of all your Parks and Recreation facilities. We talk about things that influence your action program, and then we put together goals, objectives, and a 5-year capital improvement plan related to your parks. In terms of the process, Jim noted that we've been working on the project since the spring. The city developed an online survey that was available in May and June, where we gathered some input on priorities and satisfaction. We also hosted an event at the Ice Cream Social at the pool in July, where a lot of people came out. We had a station, you can see kind of the ballot boxes lined up where we had different project ideas there. We gave everybody some fake money to kind of use as their votes to help us understand priorities. We also had a table open where people could write down different ideas that they had for parks and what they'd like to see in the facilities over the next 5 years. Once that was done, we also included that priority exercise online, and people responded that way in terms of what projects they thought the city should focus on. Scott and Jim talked with the Rec Commission and City Commission, and I attended a meeting to review the draft with the Recreation Commission in the spring and then in August.
and to work through some of the action plan priorities. And then the drafted plan was available for review in October. That brings us to here to tonight for the official public hearing and then for the commission to consider adoption. Just wanted to highlight some of the things in the action program. The action program section of the plan really outlines the direction the city would like to take, includes goals, objectives, capital improvement priorities. And the plan document, I think, has been in your packet. I think you've had some time to review it. It's also been available on the city's website for public review. I won't go into reading through all of these, but we took some time to go through the input and the survey results and to talk with Scott and Jim about different things going on in the city and work through some of this this language, reviewed with the Recreation Commission, made some additions based on that input. So I think these are good goals, objectives. These are important to keep in mind if you do move forward in submitting any grant applications to the Department of Natural Resources. They'll look to see that the project you're applying funds for meet the goals that are established in your plan. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific project that you've called out, as long as the project meets the goals that have been developed. And then the 5-year capital improvement priorities. You'll see a number of projects there focusing particularly on Gainsborough Park and Flynn Field area, the community center and pool, and Memorial Park. So we took a look at these projects. The city has developed cost estimates for those and have developed some priorities for you to focus on over the next 5 years. So next steps, certainly you'll take any comment during the public hearing tonight. Once the public hearing is closed, discussion amongst yourselves. Then the commission consider adoption by resolution, which I believe you have in your packets as well. And if you would like to make any edits to the plan, you can adopt it by resolution, including any edits you might like to take. And then once that's completed, we will move forward with the kind of housekeeping process of filing it with the Department of Natural Resources. You have to send a copy to SEMCOG and to Oakland County. And then once it's submitted to the DNR, you can move forward and use it as a guide as you continue discussions and improvements in the city.
Thank you, Leah.
Welcome.
Do we have any questions from the commission right now for Leah before we open the public hearing? Okay. All right, I'd like to open the public hearing on the Parks and Rec Master Plan. All right, everyone's okay? Cool. Thank you. It was a great presentation. All right, we will close the public hearing on the Parks and Rec Master Plan. Thank you. Then do we have a motion?
I move the 2019-2023 City of Pleasant Ridge Parks and Recreation Master Plan be approved.
Second.
Do we have any further discussion about the motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, Commissioner Perry. Really appreciate the work that Scott and the entire recreation staff did to prepare this document. Living Lab, staff at City Hall. I think it is a pretty accurate description of our community and our attitude and our value for recreation opportunities. It also is a great inventory of the work that's been done over the last 5-10 years to really improve the recreational opportunities in our community. So I appreciate all the hard work and the people who put in that hard work to realize those visions of our previous recreation master plans, and now segue into, you know, pretty much the same vision but kind of continuing and enhancing that vision. I really appreciate some of the opportunities residents were given to contribute to this vision. It's interesting seeing the participation that was there 5 years ago. I think some of the survey numbers, just raw numbers, dropped off a little bit. I don't know, you can interpret that in several ways. I think a lot of people I interpret it, and anyone here can correct me on that, but I feel most people are pretty satisfied with the direction that our recreation department and enhancements have taken over the last few years. I'm really excited about the future, continuing with improvements to our community. I know we spelled out a 5-year action plan. I know we prioritized the lighting in Gainesborough Park, which I live in that vicinity. I know a lot of people walk in that vicinity, and that particularly in the fall and winter becomes an issue with the lighting there. So I think that will be well received. I'm also encouraged to see that plans for a Gainesborough Pavilion are still a priority for our vision of what that space can be down there. I don't think anybody on this commission or up here will be surprised to hear me say that I eagerly, await the day that we can have, that pavilion installed down there. I really think it'll complete what that park can be. But yeah, I really think it's a great document. I encourage our neighbors, if you haven't looked at it, to go over it. It's a pretty good document as far as like the opportunities for recreation in the city of Pleasant Ridge, and I will be supporting it this evening.
Anyone else? I just want to thank all of you for, this is amazing, the strides that we've made over the past few years. The vision you've helped give us from Living Lab, but also, Scott and the administration, as well as the Recreation Commission, working hard to really help create so many beautiful, living space, public spaces for the city. It's been huge changes that have really brought people together. So that's pretty exciting. All right, Amy, could we take a vote?
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes. Thank you. Great. So we'll move that forward. So the next item on our agenda is the Oakland County Community Development Block Grant Program year 2019 Community Application and Subrecipient Agreement, which is quite a bit. So this is it's a public hearing again tonight. Jim, did you have something you wanted to talk about with us?
Sure. Yeah, I can introduce this briefly.
Thank you.
There's a memo in your packet, actually from Amy, because Amy oversees the CDBG program. If you want to give this presentation, Amy, let me know. I'll run through it quickly. We get the minimum funding level through Oakland County for our CDBG allocation. It's $7,000. So we can program that for a very limited range of uses. The CDBG program has a wide range of services and projects that you can do using that money, but it has to be used in low-income areas. A number of years ago, Pleasant Ridge had a low-income area. We no longer do. So now we have been using our CDBG money for public services and specifically for senior services. Within CDBG, there is a presumed benefit for persons who are 62 years or older. It's assumed that they qualify for the low income without having to provide income verification or showing that they meet the income requirements for using CDBG money. It's one of the it might be the only thing that we can provide locally here and still meet the requirements of the CDBG program. Just run through a few. We've talked about most of the things on that slide. Within CDBG, they talk about some of the programs are community area-wide benefit. These are services for areas that are identified for activities that's at least 40.81% low income. And don't ask me how they get to 40.81%, but this is federal government money, so they got there somehow. We no longer have a service area that can qualify. If you do have a low or moderate income area, you can do things like sidewalk replacement, street tree plantings. You can do a lot of capital improvements. You can do park improvements, but we can't. We can't access the money for that purpose. So again, we can use the direct benefit that's presumed that anyone 62 years and older will qualify as low income. These are some of the things you can do for public facilities if you have a low income area. We don't. These are some of the things that you can do as public services if you have a population that meets the income requirements. You can see that a lot of these things, there's battered spouse support, child care services, right on down the line. We can even do housekeeping and yard cleanup services. But you have to make sure that your population you're serving meets those income requirements. Senior services, because it's targeted towards seniors, we can do that again because it meets that direct benefit level. So what we've been using for this for is our senior programming. You can see that in recent years we've been able to increase our senior programming. Part of this is because of the CDBG funding. Part of it is because Shawnee came on board.
Out of your back pocket.
Yeah. So 23% of our senior program budget is supported by CDBG. We do have general fund. SMART provides some of the transportation services, and then user fees provides the rest of the funding level for that. So in the packet, we noted, and I don't know if anyone is here from Haven, but we got a phone call last Thursday from Haven, and they indicated that they were going to show up at the meeting tonight and ask us to allocate some of our CDBG funding. I don't see them here. One of the things that could be an option would be to earmark some of our CDBG money to an outside entity that would qualify. I don't know the ins and outs of that, for how that process exactly works. I know you can do it, and then there's a lot more paperwork, and Haven has to keep track of everyone from Pleasant Ridge they serve, and then there's a lot of back-end bookkeeping on that.
But we've never done that so far.
We've never done that. We have not, no. I don't see anyone from Haven here, so we'll leave that at that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. This does require a public hearing on the use of the minimum level CDBG funding that Pleasant Ridge gets. And Amy can clarify or correct anything I've said that's incorrect. And either Amy or I can answer questions on this now or later after the public hearing.
Thank you. All right, do you have any questions before we go to the public hearing, Commission? Okay. All right, I'd like to open the public hearing. All right. Please come to the microphone and give your name and address.
I'm Jamie Lyerly at 33 Norwich, and I just had a question on the SMART funding that you put up there on the graph. Is that also something similar to the CDBG funding where it's required for low income or seniors, and that's what we're applying it towards?
Would you like me to answer that now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That is not earmarked.
Okay.
That's just funding we get for community transportation.
Okay.
We do contract with Royal Oak because they have their own fleet of transportation. We do make available senior dial-a-ride services through Royal Oak, and we also use their transportation for the senior trips.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thank you. I'd like to close the public hearing. And then do we have a motion? And then we can.
I move the Oakland County Community Development Block Grant Program year 2019 application, including the programming of $7,000 to the Public Service Senior Services line item, and sub-recipient agreement be approved, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the agreement.
Second.
Do we have any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah,
Commissioner Krzyjak?
thank you. Jim, you mentioned the deadline for our application or our paperwork for the CDBG program. That's sometime in December 14th.
That's correct.
So that'd be the Friday. Our regularly scheduled city commission meeting is on the 11th. I guess this would be more to Amy. I mean, if there was an adjustment or some sort of deviation from what we've done in the past, an effort to maybe split these to accommodate the request from Haven. Would a decision on the 11th be enough time to process that for the 14th?
That would be entirely up to you. I mean, the paperwork's the paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The Oakland County had requested that we schedule the public hearing as early as possible
Mhm.
so that everyone had their paperwork in, because they are working with 60-some communities
Mhm.
in Oakland County, and then they put the packet together for the federal funding, because that's what this is. It's
Mhm.
federal community block grant money
Yeah.
that trickles down to the county, that trickles down to the locals.
Okay, thank you. The one thing we talked about, and I know Scott was very helpful in the background information on this, is in the information that was presented on screen as far as tying the $7,000 to programming. Just to clarify, that is money that we get from this program, but there are funding options within our general fund that could accommodate a reduction in the CDBG money going for the senior programs without eliminating the senior programs. Is that a correct assumption?
Budgeting is priorities,
Mhm.
so anything is possible. Yes,
Mhm.
$3,500 is not a huge amount at the at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I know we were really dialoguing about on the issue of allocating this money to an outside entity like Haven, which I believe, and I think the consensus is from my colleagues, that they provide incredible service to the women, the children, the men of Oakland County. I mean, this is a service that, if you are the victim of domestic violence or sexual abuse and you live in Oakland County, these are the people who will be helping you in your time of need. So I think it's a consensus that we all believe very strongly in this program. I know my position is I'm open to actually, splitting this money with Haven and finding out a way, to continue to fund the senior programs. I guess what I would like to do, and this is something that, if the rest of the commission feels strongly, we can schedule something. But I would like to move forward with the motion that was on the table tonight, but figure out some way in the future before next year's process. One, if we do want to look at helping entities like Haven, or I know Youth Assistance has been mentioned, I would really appreciate, and we can have this conversation during the spring budget conversations, but I feel that we should be prepared next year around this time to have a more fruitful conversation about how we want to spend these monies, because I know the senior services are an incredible benefit to our community. This money helps. I know Shawnee's organization and Scott's leadership, I know, helps enrich those programs. And I don't want to see a reduction in those programs, but I also do feel like a community like Pleasant Ridge can find money in their budget to help a vital service like Haven or Youth Assistance. So I'm comfortable going forward with the motion as is tonight, but I would just ask that in the next 6 months that we figure out if this is something we want to examine going forward.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else?
Just a quick question. Did Haven ask for $3,500 or
No.
just asked for an amount?
So, because we're a threshold community, meaning we get the minimum amount of funding, $7,000. We either have to allocate it all into one account. If we want to split it, we can only split it into two, $3,500 each. So that's where the dollar amount comes from.
Right, but if we consider it as an amount we take from just general funds, it could be anything.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Thank
Yep, good clarification.
you. Got it.
Right. And that's what it's like. I think I agree with the point you guys are getting at is, Haven is an amazing organization that, is worthy of all of our time and energy and, and support. and it has been amazing to watch the Recreation Commission create these senior programs over the past couple of years that have really helped support, and change sort of the whole, the camaraderie, I think, of our community at, all different levels, where, we used to be more focused on kids, and this, I think, has brought some balance. So while, I think it's great that, we, having this, sort of focused on the seniors, I think works out really nicely, and then maybe look at the general budget, because then you can be more flexible with the amounts and things like that versus, the guidelines that mean that you have to split it in half and do very specific things. So that's why I like tonight's motion
Right.
too. But for us to think moving forward of other things, ways to handle
And
that.
examine it.
Yeah.
Come up with the process.
All right, I would like to open, let's see. This is a public hearing, right? Did we already do it?
Sorry,
Okay,
yeah.
then Amy, can we have a vote? Sorry.
Commissioner Wall,
Yes.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry.
Yes. Thank you. So the motion carries and we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is a request for a lot split and combination of the lots commonly known as 15, 17, and 19 Norwich in Pleasant Ridge, Michigan, 48069. Jim, could you talk to us about that?
Sure.
Thanks.
We have, I think it's been known on Norwich for some time now that the house at 19 and the 2 platted lots which are attached to that house have been up for sale. They have sold recently. We've received all of the property transfers now, so it's official that all 3 lots are under new ownership. The new owners have brought forth a proposal to take the 3 lots and to combine them and divvy them up and recombine them into 2 lots. So this is the survey that they submitted. The dark heavy lines are the proposed lots, and then the dashed line here and here are the existing lot lines, and this is the house at 19. So the house sits on the far west end. The driveway wanders over onto the middle lot, and then there's the vacant lot here. As it stands, these are 3 platted buildable lots, so the current situation is that the new property owner could build 2 new houses on the property. They are requesting a combination and split to create 2 lots. So there would be the existing house at 19 on a now 51-foot wide lot, and then a new buildable lot that's 70 feet wide. The existing lots are 41, 40, and 40 feet wide. So this would be a reduction in development potential, and it would create one of the largest lots on Norwich. I think there might be 2 lots that are existing that are bigger than this one. In your packet, there's an analysis. A lot split requires city commission approval, so even though this is a reduction in the number of lots because it's going through the combination process, the city commission has to approve this before we can send it to the county for final processing. So the existing lots and the proposed lots all meet zoning. The creating bigger lots, clearly the new lots comply with our minimum zoning requirements. There are considerations in section 6621 of the city code that the city commission shall consider in making its determination to approve or deny a proposed split. The first one is the division in keeping with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. There is a variety of lot widths on Norwich ranging from 40 feet to 100 feet wide, although most lots on the street are generally between 40 and 60 feet wide. So the proposed 50 and 70 foot lots are in character with the existing development pattern on the street. Does the division enhance the future development or existing uses of the affected lands in conformity with the zoning ordinance? The answer to that is yes. The division and combination will result in 1 fewer house potentially being built, and it complies with all zoning standards. Will the split have an adverse impact on the provision of municipal services? Being a reduction in the development potential, there's no impact on the provision of municipal services, and there's no reason why we can't provide water, sewer, police, and fire service to 1 additional house on Norwich. Is the division in the public interest? The division does reduce the development potential for the site, and so, you know, from a tax-based perspective, I'm sure we'd like to have 2 houses there, but from a street character perspective, the neighbors may be happier with one house there. Either way, there's nothing that's contrary to the public interest in the City Commission approving this split. So based on the above considerations, it's staff's recommendation that the City Commission approve the proposal to combine the 3 lots and create 2 new resulting parcels. I would also note that in the agenda summary, we note that there was a proof of ownership issue. This was just a paperwork issue with the title company. The lot 67, which is the existing house, and then lot, I believe that's 69. I think I might need some reading glasses here soon. These had transferred over. This middle lot was still in the old property owner's name. The new property owner has rectified that. We had the new paperwork delivered today. It's all been processed through, so this is no longer an issue. So there's no need to make any approval contingent upon the applicant providing proof of ownership for parcel number 25-28-252-015. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, you or anyone who may be here with interest in this item.
Thank you, Jim. Commission, does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Just, if I may, just a quick question. Were there any zoning issues to the house adjacent to the new lot that might get built on that had to be considered?
Which house?
The house to the, and the picture to the right?
To the west?
To the west. Oh.
To the west, the existing house at 19?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's no zoning issues with that.
Okay.
The driveway is going to have to be moved, or moved off of the parcel, but that's an issue that the property owners can work out.
Got it. Okay.
And that house is staying? The one at 19?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Okay. Great. All right. I'd like to open it up to the public. Does anyone have any questions or comments? We have several Norwich people here, so I wasn't sure. Thank you.
I appreciate it split into 2 lots.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
You know, you can always look at the benefit if you had 3 lots from a tax dollar, right? But when you look at it, depending on what they're designing on those 3 lots, it could destroy the rest of the value. And I think also the architecture and the tradition of what the community's about.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thank you. All right. Do I have a motion?
Sure. Mayor, I move the lot split of parcel 25-28-252-015, lot 68, be approved contingent upon the filing of the necessary transfer of ownership paperwork. Upon the contingency being satisfied, I move that the following parcels be combined as a result of the split. Parcel A, 25-28-252-014, east 1 foot of lot 66, lot 67, and west 10 feet of lot 68, Garden Ridge sub number 3, section 28, town 1 north, range 11 east, Oakland County, Michigan. And parcel B, 25-28-252-016, lot 69 and east 30 feet of lot 68, Garden Ridge sub number 3, section 28, town 1 north, range 11 east, Oakland County, Michigan, as presented in the attached land survey dated August 20th, 2018.
Thank you. Do we need to adjust that because the paragraph 1, the transfer of ownership is done, or we're fine?
The contingency's been satisfied.
Okay.
So at
We're
this
fine.
point, it doesn't really matter one way or the other if it's
Got it,
already
right.
satisfied.
Okay.
I second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion on the motion?
I have a question. My name's Dave Miller, and I am the managing member of DM Homes in Metro Detroit. We own the property. My son-in-law is overseeing this process of combining and then splitting the property. But we have one of your neighbors who is purchasing the lot as it will be divided. And they requested that they have the number 17 as their address. Is this possible?
Yeah, it's available, so we can work that out.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a subject
That's
of
an administrative issue
a
that
whole
we can
different thing. Okay.
easily work through, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Amy, could we have the vote?
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Perry?
Yes. Thank you. The motion carries. Thanks a lot. The next item on the agenda is the city manager's report.
I have very little this month. Once again, we had leaf piles snowed on. Norwich may remember that fondly from last year. I don't, but
you don't remember, or
yeah, right.
We still have the photo of you in the race.
My finest moment. But we fortunately saw some melting today. Bright hours out, continuing to pick up leaves. So I think leaf pickup is going much better this year because of the weather.
Yes.
And the last year was very warm and
Tough
the leaves
year.
just weren't falling. We are not extending leaf pickup under any circumstances this year.
So the last day is when?
The last day is it's the Friday of the week after Thanksgiving, which is December
29th, isn't it?
November. Is that November 29th?
22nd is Thanksgiving.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving's early this year.
November 30th.
November 30th.
Was it 30th? I was
Yes.
off by one.
So November 30th.
We were all
is
wrong.
last week.
I said
Okay.
the right month.
Right.
Great.
It'll eventually be right.
December 7th.
It says something different on the website, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the last week it might be December 7th. That's where we hit everybody.
That's where
Yeah.
everybody, all zones
Okay.
are.
All zones.
The
The week
regular,
of
Yeah.
December 3rd, so
the
the
regular
7th will be
schedule
the
is
last
the
one.
30th, and then we'll
Just
go
look
around
that
and
real
hit
quick.
everybody.
So December 3rd is the last day to get it to the curb.
To get it to the curb, and
Okay.
then December 17th is the last day they're gonna pick up in the bags.
Bags, December 17th.
But the third is the last to get it to the curb.
Yes.
Right.
No.
Get it out to the curb
No.
by December 3rd, and it'll get picked up that
Yeah,
week.
by December 30th, yes.
Yeah. So December 3rd is your key date.
Yes.
Conflicting
Get to the
information.
curb. We'll put signs up for the
Okay,
last day at the
great.
curb. We'll put
Thank
those
you.
all around.
Yeah, I try and do it like the day before you pick up so people can still park on the street.
Thank you. And then anything else? Sorry.
No, nothing.
There was a squirrel and we were very distracted. Okay. Okay, now we have other business. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to mention?
Just a quick thing.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone that supported the recent election. We had a very high turnout for this midterm election, and everything just went smoothly. And so much of that is community driven that it goes smoothly. That I just wanted to say thanks to everybody.
Yeah. Amy, beautiful, and your team, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
The inspectors did it all.
Aw.
They did. They do a great job. I'm lucky to have the group that I have, and the new people that are coming on are great. So yeah,
Yay.
it's working out great. And then of course I wouldn't be able to do it without Scott and Shawnee being
Yeah.
there with me all day,
Yay.
listening to me get upset when I think I'm gonna. run out of cookies.
Right.
So I want to make sure everyone gets their cookie.
Yeah.
And
That's
and I want to thank Commissioner Harry. She came on the Saturday before and dropped off cookies for the people that wanted to vote absentee,
That's
so
right.
they could still get one.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
Aw.
Because cookies are
Traditional.
synonymous with voting
Yeah.
in Pleasant Ridge. So.
It's funny. I was at the post office and somebody on the line was saying, "And Pleasant Ridge gives cookies."
Ah!
It's really funny.
Word on the street. I can confirm that.
No, well, it was a great day, and it was fun for everyone to see the big room. It was a
Yeah.
good reveal day.
It looks so
Work in
good.
progress. It's really fun. It's a great space. So it was a fun day. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Krzyjak, do you have anything?
Our last book of the year, A Pig in Provence by Georgianne Brennan. It's a recollection of her time in Provence, obviously. She went there as a aspiring chef and learned from the inhabitants of that region, and got so good that some of the more traditional French chefs. We're calling her dishes better than the ones from homegrown chefs. So this is an account of her time there and how she developed her appreciation for the cuisine of that part of the world. And yeah, we'll be discussing this tomorrow at 7 o'clock at the community center. And hope you can join it. It'll be our last book of the year. We will not have a book for December, and then we'll get back at it in January. So if you're interested in French cuisine, come talk with us tomorrow.
Are there recipes in there?
She describes, yes, the dishes in quite the detail. So
very cool.
Maybe I'll whip something up.
Do it.
I'm scared.
Do it.
Do it.
I don't know if they use macaroni and cheese as an ingredient.
Oh boy.
Make it happen.
Isn't there a French way to say craft?
Yes. Exactly.
All right.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I just want to make a plug. This could be a Pleasant Ridge thing. I don't know if you've all heard of Fern Care. They provide free health care to anybody that has no insurance. It's on 9 Mile. They're having a fundraiser at Leanne and Lulu Sunday. I'll be pouring wine. It's 1 to 4, and that store donates 10% of what anybody who walks in the door spends to Fern Care, and it's such a good, it's 100% free health care for people. So it's just an amazing situation. So if you are around, come in and shop and support it.
What's the timing again?
1 to 4:30 or 1 to 4.
At Leanne and Lulu.
Leanne
right?
and Lulu in Classic.
On Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Thank you for humoring me with that.
Yeah. And then I do want to put in one additional plug for the Chariot program. The thing I didn't focus on is the free, it helps you avoid parking and everything right now, because the parking in Ferndale right now is so tight and really hard, and it'll take you anywhere from downtown Ferndale to all the way down to Axel Brewing, and then that way it's a nice, good, easy, free ride that you can enjoy. So you can find out more information on the Pleasant Ridge City website. All right, anything else? No? Great. Thank you all very much. I would
thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you all for making it easy. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. All whatever? All agree?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I call.
That's all right.
Meeting's over. I forgot to write that part down.